So you're thinking about investing overseas? That's awesome. Seriously, it's one of the best ways to diversify your portfolio and potentially tap into growth markets that you just can't find at home. But, and this is a big but, you can't just jump in blind. A lot of people see the exciting headlines about booming economies in other countries and think it's an easy win. But the reality is, it's a completely different ballgame. There are so many hidden complexities, from different laws to currency fluctuations, that can absolutely wipe you out if you're not careful. It's like trying to play chess without knowing how the pieces move. You're just setting yourself up for failure. That's why being prepared and informed isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. Think of it this way. You wouldn't buy a house without getting an inspection, right? You wouldn't invest your life savings in a stock without doing some research. Investing overseas is 1,000 times more complex, so you need to be 1,000 times more prepared. The good news is that with the right knowledge, you can navigate these challenges and unlock some incredible opportunities. It's all about doing your homework up front so you can invest with confidence and avoid those costly, rookie mistakes that so many people make. So, for everyone who's been asking me about this, I've put together a list of the 7 essential tips that you absolutely need to know to succeed with foreign investments. We're going to break down everything from understanding foreign laws and taxes to spotting scams that look way too good to be true. My goal here is to give you a solid framework, a real roadmap, so you can make smart, informed decisions and protect your hard-earned money. So, if you're ready, make sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's get into it. Alright, first up, and this is probably the most important and, let's be honest, the most boring part. But you have to understand the local laws and taxes. I can't stress this enough. So many people get excited about a potential investment opportunity in another country and completely overlook the legal and financial red tape. You might find a great deal on a property, for example, but then you discover there are massive property taxes for foreign owners, or strict rules about how much rent you can charge. Or maybe you want to invest in a foreign company, but the country has capital gains taxes that are double what you're used to at home. These are the kinds of details that can turn a profitable investment into a massive loss before you even get started. You need to become a mini expert, or at least be very aware of the specific rules in the country you're targeting. Start by researching their local tax rates. How are investment profits taxed? What about dividends or rental income? Then look into the rules for money transfers. Can you easily move your money in and out of the country, or are there strict capital controls? Some countries make it incredibly difficult to repatriate your profits. Also, what are the requirements for a foreigner to open a bank account, or to legally own property, or to register a business? Ignoring these foundational questions is like building a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. It's just a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. Next up, you need to choose a country with a stable economy and, just as importantly, a stable political system. It can be really tempting to look at developing nations with explosive growth charts and think, this is it. This is my chance to get in on the ground floor. But rapid growth can often come with extreme volatility and risk. A country that looks like a rocket ship one year can completely fall apart the next due to a political coup, a sudden change in government policy, or an economic crisis. You don't want your life savings tied up in a place that could become a political or economic disaster zone overnight. What you're looking for is consistency and predictability. Look for countries with a strong, diversified economy that isn't reliant on a single industry, like oil or tourism. A strong economy is more resilient to global shocks. Political stability is just as crucial. Does the country have a history of peaceful transitions of power? Is its legal system transparent and fair? You want to invest in a place where property rights are respected and contracts are enforced. A country with high levels of corruption or a history of seizing foreign assets is a giant red flag. You're not looking for a get-rich-quick gamble, you're looking for a sound, long-term investment. So, prioritize countries with strong institutions and a track record of stability over those with flashy but fragile growth. Okay, so you've probably heard me say this a million times about domestic investing. And the principle is exactly the same when you go international. You absolutely must diversify your investments. It's a classic mistake. Someone decides to invest in, say, Brazil, and they pour all of their international allocation into Brazilian real estate. If the Brazilian real estate market takes a nosedive, or if new laws are passed that hurt foreign property owners, their entire international portfolio gets wiped out. That is a massive, concentrated risk that is just not smart to take. The whole point of investing overseas is to add another layer of diversification to your overall financial picture, not to create a new point of vulnerability. So, when you think about foreign investing, don't just think about one country or one asset class. Spread your bets. You could consider putting some money into real estate in a stable European country while also buying international stocks or ETFs that give you exposure to Asian markets. Look into global mutual funds, which are managed by professionals and are inherently diversified across many countries and sectors. You could even consider dipping your toes into foreign startups through crowdfunding platforms, although that's obviously on the much higher end of the risk spectrum. By spreading your investments across different geographic regions and different types of assets, you protect yourself. If one market goes down, your other investments can help cushion the blow. This next one is something that a lot of new international investors completely forget about, and it can silently eat away all of your profits. You have to watch the currency exchange rates. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine you invest $100,000 in a property in another country. Let's say your investment goes up by 10% in local currency over a year. You're feeling pretty good, right? You made a 10% return. But what if, during that same year, that country's currency weakened by 15% against the US dollar? When you convert your money back, you've actually lost 5% on your investment, even though the property value went up. That's a brutal lesson to learn. This is why you can't just look at the investment's performance in its local currency. You have to constantly track the exchange rate between that currency and your home currency. It adds a whole other layer of complexity and risk to your investment. You also need to keep an eye on local inflation in that country. High inflation can erode the value of the local currency and therefore the value of your investment when you convert it back. Some advanced investors use strategies like currency hedging to protect against these fluctuations. But for most people, the simplest approach is to be aware of the risk and to factor it into your decision-making. Choose countries with historically stable currencies and monitor the trends closely. Look, I'm a big believer in DIY investing, but when it comes to navigating the complexities of a foreign market, trying to do it all yourself is a recipe for disaster. This is one area where you absolutely need to work with professionals. I'm talking about hiring people on the ground in that country who know the system inside and out. Specifically, you should seriously consider hiring an international financial advisor and, depending on the investment, a local lawyer. These people are your insurance policy against making a catastrophic mistake. They understand the local laws, the tax codes, and the cultural nuances that you, as an outsider, are almost guaranteed to miss. A good international lawyer can review contracts, verify property titles, and make sure your investment is structured in a way that is both legal and tax efficient. They can save you from scams, fraudulent sellers, and endless legal headaches down the road. A financial advisor who specializes in international investments can help you understand the true risks and potential returns, navigate the currency issues we just talked about, and ensure your investment aligns with your overall financial goals. Yes, hiring these professionals costs money, and I know how much we all hate paying fees. But trust me, the cost of hiring an expert is a tiny fraction of what you could lose by making a single uninformed mistake. My next tip is simple, but it's incredibly powerful, especially if you're just starting out. Start small. There's this temptation, when you find what you think is a golden opportunity, to go all in. You get that fear of missing out, and you want to deploy as much capital as possible to maximize your potential returns. I'm telling you, resist that urge. When you're dealing with an unfamiliar market, your first investment should be seen as a learning experience. It's your tuition fee for the School of International Investing. So, instead of buying an entire apartment building, maybe start by buying a single, small studio apartment. Or instead of investing $50,000 in a foreign startup, maybe start with just $1,000. This approach does a few things for you. First, it dramatically limits your potential downside. If the investment goes south, which is a real possibility with your first attempt, you haven't lost your life savings. It's a manageable loss that you can learn from. Second, it allows you to test the market and your entire process on a small scale. You'll go through all the steps: transferring money, dealing with local banks, understanding the tax reporting, and working with your professional team. It's like a dress rehearsal. You can iron out all the kinks and learn the ropes with low stakes. Once you have a successful small investment under your belt and you feel confident in the process, then, and only then, should you consider scaling up. And finally, my last tip is a universal rule of investing, but it is especially true in foreign markets where you have less information and oversight. You must avoid any offer that promises guaranteed profits. If you see those words or anything like them, no risk, can't lose, guaranteed high returns, your scam detector should be screaming, run in the other direction. All investments, without exception, carry some level of risk. That is the fundamental nature of investing. You are putting capital at risk in the hope of generating a return. Anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying to you or doesn't understand what they're talking about, and you don't want to give your money to either of those people. These types of guaranteed profit pitches are particularly common in the international real estate and alternative investment space. Scammers love to target foreign investors because they know you're less familiar with the local market, and it's harder for you to verify their claims. They'll show you glossy brochures, fake testimonials, and complicated-looking charts, all designed to make you feel like you're getting in on an exclusive, can't-miss deal. Remember, legitimate investment professionals will always be upfront about the risks. They will talk about potential downsides, market volatility, and worst-case scenarios. The scammers are the ones who only talk about the upside. So please, be skeptical, do your own independent research, and never, ever fall for the promise of a guaranteed return. And there you have it, 7 essential tips to help you navigate the exciting but complex world of foreign investing. From doing your homework on local laws and taxes to starting small and being hyper-aware of scams, these principles are your foundation for success. Remember, investing overseas isn't about finding a magic bullet or a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about strategic diversification, careful planning, and disciplined execution. It requires more work and more due diligence than investing at home, but the potential rewards in terms of portfolio growth and risk reduction can be well worth the effort. By following these tips, you can avoid the common pitfalls that trap so many uninformed investors and position yourself to make smarter, safer decisions. Think of this as your roadmap. Use it to guide your research, to ask the right questions, and to build a robust international investment strategy that works for you over the long term. The goal is to invest with confidence, knowing that you've done everything you can to protect your capital and maximize your chances of success. It's about being a smart, informed global investor, not a gambler. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really hope you found this breakdown helpful. If you did, it would be a massive help to me if you would just gently tap the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on future videos. I post content just like this all the time to help you with your financial journey. As always, thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one.